Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Noise, where we try to get past the surface rhetoric about how we work hard and stay diligent and do all these things without any instruction or direction. I missed you guys last weekend, but we're back in effect. We do not have the round-faced Mexican girl. I don't know what that's all about. She says she's at work, but I'm not there, so I don't know. But in the house, we do have Miss Patricia. Miss Patricia, how are you today?
I am wonderful.
So we got Miss Patricia on the ones and twos. We got Kenny, who tries to keep me on the clock, and I don't hardly ever pay attention. And today's episode is brought to you by Speed School. Speed School over there, performance experience in Euless and in soon to be in Mansfield. Speed School is a 3-day-a-week program that gives you speed, strength, and explosive quickness that allows you to learn how to move properly and mechanically sound. Because efficiency is what gets you an amazing time. Now, I brought that up today simply because one of the best track instructors that I've ever been around is in our presence today. Right here today, we have the director of performance from Team Extreme, which is a track club here in the DFW. In my opinion, the #1 track club in the DFW, because he sends quite a few kids to school. Coach has been in the game for 30 years, so he has seen many athletes come through here. He is one of DFW's own. He ran at Ranger, as a matter of fact, one of DFW's own, Coach Don Hicks of Team Extreme. Coach, how we doing today, brother?
Doing great, doing great.
Man, it's so good to see you. Coach and I have worked together before Miss P. As a matter of fact, Coach and I worked together 3 years ago. He allowed me the opportunity to work with him when he had one of his best teams. So all I had to do was stand around and act like I was doing stuff and brag and all that other good stuff. But here's the truth. A lot of the things that I utilize and a lot of the things that I learned as far as central nervous system and getting kids to understand where they are in a team development phase and maxing out the potential of kids comes directly from this man, Coach Don Hicks. He's aggressive, and he's one of the few people to keep me under control for extended periods of time. But we are here to talk about Coach. Coach, how long you been the director of performance at Team Extreme?
I've been the director for now going on 10 years.
10 years. And what brought about it? Because that's your baby. You created Team Extreme.
Right.
So you ran in college. You as a runner, not necessarily a sprinter, but loving the sport and trying to learn the mechanics. What brought you from a runner at Ranger College to one of the best instructors in the DFW? And I do not say that lightly, and I got receipts to prove it. So if you got questions, where can they find you, Coach, before I ask you that question again?
You can find me at 3528 Euless.
Yeah, right around the corner from us at 2538 Euless. He is literally, I've walked over there to get instruction. But so from Ranger to instructor who is sending kids to college, talk to me a little bit about that journey out of college, bringing you into this field.
Well, when I was in college, what I did, I would come home, and I always wanted to give back. So what I did, I would come home, and I come out of Poly High School.
Okay.
So I would come and work with my high school coach, and the things that I would learn, I would bring it back and show him. And
as a young runner.
As a young runner.
Wow.
Also, my journey started as a young man. About 4th, 5th grade, I ran track. 7th grade, I got struck in the head with a rock, and they said I'd be a vegetable. I sat there in the hospital.
No, I need you to stop.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, what happened? We were playing down at the end, what we call the end, where we dig worms, and it was a little creek. And so I decided I was tired. I was going home, and my brother pitched the rock up, and I started on a run. And with the way everything went, I hit the rock. The timing was just perfect. Just boom, knocked me off my feet. At that point, I was in the hospital for a long time. So they said I'd be a vegetable the rest of my life. So I took that, sat, watched. My dad prayed for me. And
really?
Yes. And one day my brother was meddling me. I was sitting on the porch, and I got up and started walking. Had to make baby steps. So before then, I was good in track, football. So I had to learn how to do everything all over again.
So how long had it been from the incident to when you got up off the porch and was going to put them hands on your brother?
So watch this. That was when I was 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting ready. I went through 8th grade. So as a freshman in high school, I had to learn how to redo everything over. So I started reading books, studying about the body, how I could rehab. I met my coach, Coach Harris, and when he would, Spencer Harris, he's deceased now, but he taught me about the game, but I watched him, how he did things, and I studied. As a freshman with that injury I had, they put me on varsity track. I worked my way back to the top, and so that's why I came up with the name Team Extreme. Extreme is not average. Everyone used to ask me, won't you be a jaguar, won't you be a tiger? I'm like, not an animal, but I can say with the word extreme is not average, because I came from a bad situation to get to where I am now. And the big thing with me was I wanted to make sure that if an athlete wanted an opportunity, if they would bring the work, I knew that the work would happen for them. They would get the results. If they bring the work, bring a willing mind, it could happen. I pride myself on studying the body and how to get the body ready for the workload, because I had to do it for myself.
Right. So I want to live right there. So you're at a point where doctors say things that they believe at that time, and it makes sense. Because I know I've told the story about me flatlining, lungs collapse, had a mitral valve prolapse, things of that nature. The doctor says, well, because of the lack of oxygen to the brain, he's going to have to relearn these things. It's going to take him longer to do those things. And that sounds good scientifically, but then you're here and none of those things even apply.
No.
So what was it in you while you were sitting there hearing that and decided that didn't make sense for you? Let me read about how I can make me better. What was it in you that brought you to that point?
Well, while sitting there watching my brother, meddle at me, that was one of the best things that ever happened.
Really?
Him taunting at me. So what I did as I sat there, I started to take my mind, I started to think and focus on my toe moving. I started to get feeling. I started to thinking, okay, how can I get my nervous system to work? At that time, I didn't know anything about nervous system. I started to think.
Yeah.
The more I thought, I could feel it and start moving, and I just stood up. Go, wow. It was kind of wobbly, but I started to walk, and that's my process when I talk to athletes. Is getting that feel. When you get that feel, now you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish, and that's my drive with Team Extreme. I take athletes that normal coaches wouldn't even take.
I know, Coach. Yep.
And when I get them there, everybody want them but you didn't want this kid when his leg was turned the wrong way or their arm was turned. You didn't want that athlete. So,
or this is the first time they ever ran track.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And not only that, Greg, I became a student athlete. I finished my school with a 3.2. You're talking about an athlete that had an injury that they said I will never do this. So not just only the athletic, but the academics were there. One of the only things, because I come from a family of 11 children, my parents didn't understand how the scholarship process worked.
Time out. It was 11 of y'all.
Yes.
Where are you in that mix of 11?
7. I said 7. I'm number 10.
So you one of the last. So you've seen them. Well, there's a process of growing up, growing out, and they hadn't. Everybody was taking a different path, and you took a college path. So out of 10 kids, you were the first one to take that path.
First one.
So it was foreign to everybody.
Foreign to everyone.
How did you get through that? Talk to me about your recruiting college experience.
I had a coach again, Coach Spencer Harris, talk to me about the recruiting process. My parents were, again, unlearned, not because they just didn't know. Didn't know. Nothing against them, but they did everything they could to make sure I got to where I needed to get to. So what I did, I began to, again, call, read, ask questions, and I found out the coaches wanted me, what they needed. But it was last minute, and there were schools that wanted me. I had like Auburn, the different schools, but my parents were unlearned, so ended up going to Ranger. And it was the last minute thing. That coach had always been talking to me, and that's how I ended up at Ranger. And that was a good thing for me to get out and go and
see something different,
get a chance to run. I ran at Ranger Junior College, and I know I'm moving fast, Greg, but that's one of the things that drove me. I said, I don't want another athlete because of a parent not knowing to miss out. And that's why when I started my program, it was more than just getting an athlete. They run fast and they look good. Okay, but now how do we get to college? And what about that kid that comes that is not that maybe they don't run as fast, but they got the academics? There are different needs that I learned how to help athletes and parents get scholarship money that wasn't the best runner, but they got scholarship dollars in other ways. So my program is bigger than just the running. It's about changing lives and building a positive self-image.
Well, let me piggyback off of that, because what I can say is that everything he's saying, I actually witnessed and was a part of and had a chance to live through. So this is not an interview to where I'm asking questions that I would have to go discover or fact check. I watched 7 or 8 kids that year receive not only offers, but some kids, it was amazing how they received offers. But when he says things like he learned how to show these kids, he didn't just learn how. There is a literal process that I watched Coach Hicks take his kids through, from 9th grade to 10th grade to 11th grade indoor, to the numbers and maxing out, to how the phone calls work, to, hey, listen, I know you think this is this, but this is your level, and you need to call this coach on this day and do these things. I know he does these things for a fact. I've sat next to him and made calls next to him. I know he's helped kids that have never ran track, and because I've made the call and said, Coach Hicks, we got us one. The kid from Arkansas never ran, but I knew what you could do for that kid. So when he says he understands the process, Team Extreme is more than the running or grabbing fast kids and putting them out there and saying, hey, we got these times. This man has a genuine love for helping people understand how to extend those 4 years. Why do you love that so much? Like, what? Because that's a lot of work, Coach. I watched you do countless hours of work to get 7 kids scholarships. I know that for a fact. We can name them by names. Why do you put yourself through that?
Again, it's because of what I didn't have, and I want to give back. That's my way of giving back. Is to set them up to win. When I do that, I'm setting them up to win. It's because I believe in them. I believe, because a lot of the kids I get, the area I live in, I don't have a lot of talent. So I literally have to develop those athletes, and that's how the Lone Star Clinic came to me, and I got on panels to speak because they looked at my background and said, you had a kid that we know wasn't anything, and you took these kids and you built them. And they say you didn't do it 1 year, but you did it year after year after year. And here I am, a guy that's looking up, going to seminars. And I get a chance to now lecture beside guys like Tony Vini, Clyde Hart. I get to be on the panels with these guys, and I didn't believe it at first. I thought what I do, everybody do it.
So what is it, if you don't mind sharing, at the beginning stages, what is it that you do in that developmental stage? For example, you've seen our process in developmental. We assess just the basic movements, and we take those basic movements where those kids are, and we try to infuse where they are in comparison to what our programs offer. But you have a systemic process for the way you want your team to structure, and then an individual way of getting them scholarships. Do you mind sharing some of your first steps in that process?
Sure. What I do when I first get an athlete, I act as if they don't know anything because they don't understand the process that they need to go through. Even though they've been with other teams, I break it down. You know, when we are children, we're growing up, we learn our ABCs. We learn our vowel sounds. We get a chance to say a word, we say a sentence, and we're excited. Now we're empowered to become better. So I do track and field and teach it just like that. I teach them what's an A skip. Why do you use an A skip? What's a B skip? Where do you use a B skip at? I help them understand how the body mechanics work. And once they get that, they feel it. They feel the turn. They feel their body get up. Then we go from there. We start to put their body in shape. Because there's a point, there's a level that the body will perform at once you get it set up like that.
Does age matter in this process?
Age does matter. Age does matter. The earlier, the better.
Okay.
Because young athletes, if you remember, when a baby is a baby, their fast twitch muscle works fast. What happens is them not having enough activity, the slow twitch muscle takes over. So when I get young athletes, I keep that fast twitch muscle working, but in the process, giving them the proper mechanics and fundamentals and educating them. And that's some of the athletes you got a chance to see. You saw some that I had where we moved from 8, and you saw the processes where they were really groomed,
right?
And they understood the training phases. And that's another thing is teaching them. And once they learn, they're equipped to become that elite athlete. And when they get to that level, they can perform at maximal, level.
I'm here with Coach Don Hicks, the Director of Performance of Team Extreme. He has sent, just over the past 3 years that I know of, Coach, and tell me if I'm right, a minimum of 16 kids in a scholarship manner in a track and field situation. You've had, when I was with you, you had 2 compete at the national championships.
Yes.
And then the year afterwards, you have 3 compete at the national championships. But that developmental process that I've watched you go through and taking those athletes, and how did you learn to teach like that?
Again, a lot comes from me being patient, working with myself. Then I also work with my son. My son was, he had to learn, and it was a process for him. And I took him through the process, and I told him, I said, one day you'll get your day. And we stayed the process, and I basically worked with him very slow, and he got faster. You know, Denzel Forts is another athlete that I had gotten. When I saw him first run the 50, I said to his dad, I said, this kid can be a really awesome athlete. And that same kid, we won state twice in 2 divisions. He went on to run on the U.S. World Youth Team. Then he was on the World Record DMR team with the University of Texas. He had an awesome career, and I was there the whole time working with him. It was just athletes like that bought into it, that understood the workload, and that's how I learned. I had athletes that allowed me an opportunity, and they trusted the process.
Got it. But they trusted the process because you actually gave them a process. Like, this is step 1. This is not just, I'm going to tell you to do something and you do it. But it was more about teaching and understanding. It was
teaching. It was giving the download, teaching. And I found out even now, Greg, I get football guys in, and when I teach them, and the big thing I say, I teach. And I say to people, if you get to the process and you teach athletes, then you can sit in the stand as a coach and watch them. You screaming at them then.
You can't coach on game day.
You can't coach on game day. I don't believe in that.
You can't coach on game day. We say that.
So,
We've been saying that for years to each other. Hey, man, I coach you during the week. I can't coach you on game day. I got to call plays.
Yeah, what happens what happens when I'm up in the stand in New York at the Armory and they're running? What happens if I haven't taught them? They have to be taught how to take care of themselves.
Yes.
I sent 10 kids to New York one year. And I couldn't go.
Explain what happens in New York for all of our new listeners, because New York, that's the. If you're a junior or if you're an amateur, that's where you get seen. That's where all the scholarship offer kids are, the future Olympics. So explain to them how hard that process is to get those kids in New York.
you had to have a qualifying standard, and all those athletes made the eighth qualifying standard, so they were running in the main headline events.
And that's nationally,
that's
y'all.
National.
That's all 50 states.
Yes, that's national. I had 10 athletes that then they had to run rounds. All 10 of my athletes made it through the rounds to the finals, and the coaches were asking, "Where's your coach?" They said, "Oh, he's at home.
He's at home
coaching us because I had to work."
Yep.
And my job changed all of a sudden, so I had to work. And they say he's at home, but he's coaching us by phone. So I was able to do that, and I had a lot of coaches calling me saying, "Coach, that's awesome that you could send these athletes." But the teaching started way back in September.
Yeah, right.
It started a long time, and so that's why it's important for me to teach.
And I wanna say this to put this in example, because I'm a teacher by trade, and I've been doing this for 16 years. Coach has been doing this for 30 years, and I want to see if you remember this day. I remember when your kids they were walking in the PE, and you was like, "All right, y'all know what to do, take care of it," and you walked out the room. And I would always say, "Coach, why are you so comfortable leaving them all in there?" Because I walk all my kids through the warm-up. And you told me, "Well, if you got to do the warm-up for them, how they going to know on warm-up day?" You remember that?
Exactly, yeah.
I don't watch none of my kids warm up no more. But because you taught them, and so I spent that time trying to teach them not just the warm-ups, but the movement. So when it's time for them to go compete, they understand what they got to do in order to go compete. So right here, we're here with Coach Don Hicks. We see anything on the line, Miss P? Or do you have any questions about anything track and field or scholarship related before we get into some specifics?
Well, Miss Shannon Brazel.
Yeah, Mr. Shannon Brazil.
Oh, Mr. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
know Shannon.
I apologize.
Yeah.
He said you are one of the best in the game.
Oh, thank you, Shannon.
And then he had a question of what kind of kids do you currently have?
Oh, yes. I would say that I have some really awesome athletes in the stable. I have some babies. I say for the next 4, 5, 6 years, 8 years, I'm stacked with some babies. And I love development. I'm a development coach. Look, I have Sky.
Yeah, his baby girl.
Sky Brazel. Look, I have Diana, Felician, and not only that, Sky has a sister that I think is very awesome, Miss Bryce.
Miss Bryce,
I have a lot of good, and I have a lot of them, I'm going to say, in the stable now that have learned and understand the process of going on. And I have some athletes going to make some big headways as soon as we can hit the track. It's going to be some shockers going on. Just going to say that. It's going to be some shocking. It's going to be some surprises happening.
I won't be, because I know what you do. I've seen you take them through the process. What else you got over there, Ms. P?
That's it. But I do have a question. Okay. How did you change your training style through this COVID situation to still be effective the way you were before COVID?
Teaching. The teaching. When you teach, they understand. But when you tell them what to do, they have. I get a lot of athletes that come out of, and I'm not going to say, out of a lot of top programs, and I ask them about the A-skip. They just because coach said do it. Yeah. Why?
Teaching ain't telling.
Teach. Right. Yeah. Teach. I don't want to be a dictator. I don't want you to understand what you're doing. They have to understand. Again, they learn their ABCs. That's why I teach tracking for the ABCs, vowel sounds, say a word, they say a sentence, start writing paragraphs. When they're writing paragraphs from track with me, we're winning.
So you give them the why.
The why.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that shout out to Darvis Patton. I don't know where he got it from. That's who told me teaching ain't telling, and we take that really. And you and I had a chance to teach together. And
really.
They would make fun of us because all they would hear is, "Hey, we got meticulous attention to detail.
Yes.
Hey, go back and do it again. Meticulous attention to detail." Yes. So in that process of teaching, you're teaching concepts. What is, in your opinion, what's the best age to get a kid to get him to max out the skill through the teaching process?
Learning when I went to USA Track and Field School Level 1, Coach Carl Sheffield, I used to talk with Sammy Dabbs when he was over at UNT. Teaching them starting from 6, when they're ready to perform, teach them, let them have fun. And as babies, just teach them. They're going to retain it. Teach them. If they get tired and they don't want to do it, let them not do it. And they'll come back to it, and you start back teaching. They don't forget. I have a grandson that I taught him when he was doing A-skips. And he can still do A-skips now. Taught him early. And so you teach them the fundamentals. Teach them proper, slow.
Yeah.
Get the right muscle down low.
What do you think is what do you think is missing in many programs according to that? How do you think high school track and field, middle school track and field, other clubs can get to that concept? Because for us, you've seen how we work like you work. We're not there to condition you. If I can teach you and have you efficient and mechanically sound, we reduce the opportunity for injury, and we enhance the efficiency of your conditioning and recovery.
Right.
And I've had parents go, well, that's not elite enough for us. That's not fast enough for us. But then on Friday, my kid runs past your kid. You see what I'm saying? So how do you get people to understand that you learn it the same way you learn Spanish? You learn it the same way you learn math going into algebra, going into geometry. Like, how do you get those parents and those kids to understand that slow and steady makes the race?
One, you gotta accept that everyone want a stud, but a lot of times you see me do it. I'll go to a race and I could pick that kid that got last place and say, man, this was the best athlete on the track.
I seen you do it. Yep.
But nobody's looking at him. I'm looking at, he's got a lot of natural things going on. I can take this kid and I'm gonna pull this kid. You saw me, I pull this athlete, and then everybody like, wow. But he was the best athlete. Everybody wants this fast kid, but I think everyone is slow down and
learn.
Teach. Teach.
Yeah.
And use fundamentals. Everyone wants this these quick methods of training. If we're going to do A-skip, make sure the A-skip is right. If you're going to do a B-skip, make sure you're executing it right. Explain it, slow it down, and then you'll find out that you have more athletes on your team that could benefit and give you points than putting a workload on one or two athletes. And that's something I don't believe in.
Did you teach yourself that? Did that come learned, or was that during the time where you had to will yourself into getting back to where you are now? Is that something you learned along the way, or is that something you taught yourself?
That's something that when I started where I started at, I didn't have the talent. So I had to go with what I knew, and I taught everyone, and I worked, and I began to see the process in teaching. And early on, it was instilled in me, this is the way to do it. Because when I walked into the first track meet, I went to on the other side of town, coming from Keller.
Yeah.
You know, I had a bunch of Caucasian athletes, you know, and everybody laughed, but when they hit the track,
they was dusting everybody.
The respect. Yeah. I'm not gonna say we dusted, but we competed. And then the next year we got better. The next year we started running. Then we started winning. And then they said, man, they got runners in Keller.
Right on. Love it.
And I'm one of the oldest track teams in Keller. And that's how I got started with my track team, Greg. It was Derek Hood, the Hood brothers. They were out in Texas Tech. They were pole vault. His dad, he was over at Keller Central, and he saw me training my son, and I was just getting him ready because he ran with your American Flyers. And I was used to train with your American, and I moved to Keller, and I couldn't do it any longer.
Right.
So he asked me, could you just, work your son out so he can come run with us? And I was doing it, and the coach saw me getting him ready. He said, hey, would you start a track team? He said, we're getting coaches, but they won't stay.
Right.
I said, sure, I'll help you. So they put flyers out, Greg, and I showed up, and he got up in the stands, and we had a football field full of athletes and parents. And I bet you it was over 100. And I'll tell you how that happened. The lady that put it out there, she put it out there for, summer track, $25.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So everybody, we had a field full. But so when the coach did it, he introduced me, Derek Hood, he introduced me as, this is the head coach. And I looked around, he called my name.
Like who?
You know, I'm like, I am the best Indian I could be. I'm the best Indian. So I came to the table, I would assist you, but he left it in my hands, and so I had to do something. So what I did, I had been watching some videos on training and how to organize, and so I came up with, my dot drill.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
So I came up with the dot drill. That's when I came up with the dot drill. I just said, quick thinking. I'm gonna put problem solving.
Explain to the folks what.
Well, what the dot drill is, on the track it has like a blue line and it had like dots. So I lined them up on the line, 8 lanes, had all these people. I had them jog to the dot, do a skip,
and do it.
jog, kept aerobics, and that's what I did. And the parents loved it. It was organized. It was like, how's this one guy doing this? So we worked through that, but that's how I got started with Team Extreme. We were Team Extreme and we started as the Charger Track Club. Yeah. And that was because of school, and we said we couldn't use that name, so then I came up with the Team Extreme name and the logo. Yeah, so that's how we started, Greg. Yeah. Very simple.
So here with Coach Don Hicks, and he's talking about the beginning of Team Extreme. And now Team Extreme is, and I'm not afraid to say it, it's a hub for, or a springboard for athletes to get an opportunity to continue their career for 4 years. Some athletes we can call by name, some that work personally at PE through your track club. How did it evolve from just trying to compete at track to a place that you've built these relationships to help these kids get into school? How did that process start?
A lot of it happened with coaches knew that, and I say this to all my athletes, I'm not going to lie for you.
Right on.
If you don't train like you should, you don't show up for practice, you don't have the grades, I'm going to tell the coach that. One, I'm not going to even, entertain it. So they knew that that's what it was. And then I had a good set of parents that understood. I had a family that moved in from California, the James. I got a chance to work with their athlete. They bought me a very elite athlete, and I was able to work with him and train him, and they trusted me 100%, and we went all the way. And it was the idea of saying, if you do this, I'm going to speak to the coach and tell him what's going on.
What this is.
And what I did over the years, coaches would come to my practice and watch my athletes practice, and I got a lot of good comments about what they saw, what they liked. Not only did they like that, they had the grades. We made sure the grades were there. I had some of my parents that were teachers would donate their time to have like a little study hall. So we did the whole process, setting them up as if they were in college, because they were training
for college.
They were training for that. And so I would talk to coaches and tell the coach what an athlete was. And what happened was, when they got the athlete, it was just what I said they were. And when they got a chance to recruit them, it was like I said, they recruited athletes that had the academics and everything. They knew. So I started getting that name. If you call him, he's going to tell you the truth. And then I had coaches that would call me and ask me about another athlete with another team, should they come down. Right. So I was utilized like that. You started
evaluating,
a lot. I was utilizing,
secondary evaluation.
And I still do that to this day.
So do I.
And I'm evaluating an athlete for a coach that trusts my opinion.
And then you do that for more than track as well. You work with, I know you work with football. Yes. I know you work with track sprinters, middle distance, and even in throwers. I know those things. Now, what other sports?
I used to, nobody knew anything about this. I mentioned to you, I used to train athletes for the Bruins minor league hockey. They used to send athletes down. I had an athlete that was in hockey, and they sent athletes down for me to train. I did that for a little bit. Yeah, and I worked with baseball athletes, clubs. So different things, but that was a lot of different things I've done, and different things that's coming up in the future.
Right. So right now, I know you like toys, Coach. So we're going to segue into that. I know you like toys because you brought so many toys in the PE, we ain't have much room to operate. So, But I know you were a fan of Vertimax for a bit, and had its limitations, but it also has its purposes.
Most definitely.
Tried to get one off of you before, but I know you're a huge fan of the GX bolt.
Yes.
The GX bolt, especially for linear speed or track speed or even turnover. Now, a lot of people don't know what the GX bolt is. I want you to give us the website, Ms. P, if you can drop that website down on there so people can see it. Coach, talk to people about the resistance of the GX bolt, how it helps with speed, when should get. Just let us know, because I know you like toys, and I know what that toy does for your club.
Yes.
So talk to us about it.
So I'll say with the GX bolt, thanks to Mark Potter, when I first saw it flash through Facebook, I was like, wow, man, somebody finally did it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I gotta get with this guy. When he reached back out to me, and I talked with him, and he was excited.
Yeah.
And Mark is a research guy.
Yeah.
So before Mark got back with me, Mark had already researched me and said, hey, Coach, I'm happy that you liked it. It's an honor. I'm like, no, Mark, it's an honor.
Yeah.
So a long story short, Mark came down and did a demo for the team. And, man, my world changed.
Yes. Where can we find the GX bolt?
You can find the GX bolt if you go to the website that's on the bottom of the screen if she got it up.
Okay. Yeah, let me pull that because I have it. It should be on the Beyond the Noise, but if not, I got it right here, so I'll be able to pull that right on up for you, brother. But even with that, while we talk about the GX bolt, and then I pull that up, describe it, what it is and what it does.
So the GX bolt, it's a sled. It's and what it is, has a retractable pulley bungee that connects to the arm, the leg, and it's got a harness that connects to the shoulder. It's got a waist strap that connects. It gives you the stability that you want. So with the GX bolt, it's got 5 points of connection. So
there you go, Ms. P.
There's never been a sled that you can put the weight on, and you can move down the track, and you're able to move your arms and your legs at the same time and get that rhythm and that power and that lift. So with the GX bolt, it's there. So here's the thing with other machines. What happens is with the bands give, they expand.
Yes.
But with a sled is a sled. It's been around a long time. You're not going to beat a sled. Everything try to mimic a sled. I've had other equipment that I've learned through time. It gives, and you don't get the same pressure that you want.
Right.
So if I put 25 pounds on the GX bolt, it's gonna be 25 pounds.
You get 25 pounds. You don't get that jerk at the end of the pull. So that's a steady resistance.
It's a steady resistance.
That is important.
I got a steady resistance.
Yes.
Now, and I'm able to move my arms and leg with the retractable pulley system.
Right.
And so I can go all the way down the track. Not only that, the GX bolt is so beautiful that you can run the curve and the boat don't swing out the side. It stays within the
so
curve.
You stay in your rhythm where you never have to raise your body level.
No tugging. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. The speed, this past year, I talked to you about it. We used just the GX bolt, the GX bolt only. I had such big time drops. Had 9 athletes that had a big decrease in their time on that. And because of using the boat, we use the boat extensively with all the fundamentals that I teach. I was able to teach the linear speed. I was able to teach about the dynamic range of motion, and I could put that into effect with resistance on them, but with the proper movement going forward. And I tell you what, it's explosive. You're talking about explosive power, speed, and then when you release them off of it, you will have load the muscle so much that
they
the
feel like they're flying. The download stays.
It stays in the muscle. It's all about getting a muscle download.
It's not the trampoline effect.
It's not the trampoline. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, you look at North Shore. North Shore was on the first team that used GX bolt. Look where they are.
There you go.
You got Katie. You know, and I'm not at liberty to say who else got the boat now. I'm not going to say, I can't say, but the world is going to get a chance to see what's going on. Yeah. You know, with the boat, because you got a major company that says the GX boat is our competition. Yeah. you get a major player like that say that it's something about the machine, and some people are sleeping on it. I'm gonna say don't sleep on the boat, because I'm telling you, the increase is there.
So you need to bring me one, basically, is what you're saying. I need to get one. From you.
You got to get one, Greg.
Right.
And we got a special going on the boat right now. We got an introductory price going on. It's awesome. Okay. We have schools that have got the boat and that have been very successful. And Mark Potter is, man, he's a genius. Yeah. He's a genius at what he does.
Ms. P, you got that website link up there?
I have it up there, and Gracie also tagged it on the on Beyond the Noise.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So now people know where they can get it. If you have the special up, they know exactly about it. And then what we'll do is we'll replay this so people will know exactly what they're looking for.
Also, one of the other tag, my boy Carlos Cody. Yeah. Over at Saginaw Speed. I tell you what, Coach Cody got 3 boats. And man, he's a young up and coming coach. I mean, he's been around for a minute, but that's my boy. I tell you, he got the boat, and I tell you what, it's a game changer.
Yeah. In fairness, because people love to microwave things. They'll go with the boat, strap a 6-year-old to it, and say, "Go fly." They got to still teach these kids the proper mechanics. And then put the right age kid who can handle the load on the machine. So if you have a 6-year-old, don't go get the boat. Coaches, go get them for your teams.
Need it.
They need it. Because if they can get proper form and then they can get that foot down, that power and efficiency, you just became the fastest team.
I tell you, now I'm gonna say one thing about the boat that's different. Now you can put a kid on it the way it's set up, but stationary.
Yeah, don't let him pull it. Yeah,
in place. Now you can pull it, but it's slow, mechanical things because you don't have to put the weight on it.
Got it.
It's awesome. It's an awesome machine. So really, I'm excited about that. If you don't have the boat and if you want to try the boat, come over to the Extreme Center. And I'll take you for a spin on it. Bring your athletes, bring your best, strong athletes, and we'll take you for a spin.
Shoot them that, where can they find you again? Go shoot them that address so they know where they can find you and around what time they can come through there and take a look at it.
You can catch me over at the Extreme Center at 3628 Liston Lane, Euless, Texas, 76040.
And let me tell you a little bit. We're here with Coach Don Hicks. Now, honestly, we work with track guys, and I have to say this, and it's paying homage to you. We work with the same kind of athletes. We work with football players. Miss P, we work with baseball players, track athletes. We worked together. We did the strength portion for Team Extreme. So Coach went back to Keller and had Team Extreme there. He pulls up at PE one day. And we don't miss a beat. We go right into laughs and hugs and whatnot. And Coach says, "Greg, I'm not here to just waste some time. I want to say something to you. I'm thinking about opening up my own shop around the corner, but I didn't want to do that without at least having a conversation with you and seeing what you thought about that." I thought that was the most powerful, most professional, most respectful thing that anybody has ever done in my professional life. So my reply was simple. "Yeah, Coach, you just tell me what you need over there and we'll take care of it." I'm saying that to say a lot of people will see what we do as competition. But he and I have the same philosophy, and you'll never run out of clients. No. But I want you, because you've been doing this for 30 years, you have your own facility, you have a steady client base, and you've built a reputation of winning and sending kids to college. But I want the people to hear from you why you thought that conversation was important, why you thought, as just us in the same game, why you thought it was important that you would even take the time to come talk to me about that.
It's character, class. You know, a man of character and class. And
there's no doubt about that.
I respect the next guy. I don't try to get under the next guy. I don't steal athletes. Right. I don't. You know where I'm at. I develop, and what you instilled in me, what I learned from you, I felt that it was respectful, and I knew your character, and I want you to know that I was still a man of character and honor. And so for me to go to you, and you allowed me an opportunity to get into a facility, and you allowed me to, and you let it be like it was my own facility when I was there.
Oh, absolutely.
You showed me how to work a facility. So I felt that it was enough to come to you and say, hey, Greg, this is what I'm trying to do. I looked everywhere else, and this building is affordable to me, and I won't press on it. And I didn't put no money down on it.
Right.
I went to you first and said, hey, Greg, if this is going to be in your way, if this is going to be bad, I'll move on and find something somewhere else.
That's exactly what it is.
And so my thing was, if it's good, I want your blessings, and then I'll proceed and put my money on it. And if you say no, I'll go somewhere else. No hard feelings. I respected you enough for giving me the game that you gave me. I really appreciate that. You didn't have to do what you did. We bumped our heads, but we
bump heads lying now. We should have wore helmets.
And that's just keeping it real. We're real like that. We bumped heads. I would call them late at night and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, go off on each other, then we hang up and get right back to work.
And so I felt that it was necessary for me to ask you that, and I didn't know what your response was going to be.
Right.
But either way, I was going like, if he says no, I had another ram in the bush.
Yeah.
But God had worked some things out, and that was God's assurance of letting me know that it was right when you said, Coach, you didn't have to ask me. I'm like, no, man, I did,
Yeah.
And when you said, man, go for it.
Yeah.
And when I got it set up, I'll never forget. You calling me one day saying, hey, Coach, I need to use something. And I told Greg, I said, Greg, he said, would you meet me? I said, I don't need to meet you up there. I said, I got a key. I told him where it was. I said, go in there. And I never forget, before you got there, you called me crying. You said, Coach, you said, man, I got to say, I see what you were saying.
I see what you were saying.
And that meant so much to me to get your blessings. A lot of times coaches start things and they don't get the blessings. When you get some help and you got support, that makes a big difference in your push. I mean, I've been able to call you and you have encouraged me. And I got a young guy I'm working with, Cody, that, I talk with him, and you need that, man. And a lot of people want to jump out there and say, I'm going to do it like people start teams. They don't get any blessings, and they don't get any advice, and they don't last a long time.
Right.
But I want to last a long time, and you've been successful. So to get your blessings means that I can come back to you when I hit a spot and say, hey, Greg, what did you do after year 1 or 2? How did it go?
Because you just answered the next 3 questions I was going to ask you, because you keep talking about something that Miss P has heard me harp on, Kenny has heard me harp on, like it's the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we'll never run out of clients.
Never.
But there's no way I would not go to you about something in your realm. Part of that, it's all about the respect, but you just said you want to last a long time.
Yeah.
So explain that advice to the young up-and-comer, or the one who wants to try fitness out, or the ones who's coming off the same way we did, the dusty, dirty field where you train for 3 hours and now you got dirt up to your kneecaps and you got to find that little corner of the train because it's soccer on this field. Relationships got us to where we are today.
Relationships.
I try to tell people that all the time. Money didn't get me here, trust me. Relationships got me to this point. What does that mean to you? How did these relationships keep you rolling for these past 30 years?
It's helped me a lot to build a relationship with people, and that's one of the things that's kept me in the game. I build a relationship with coaches. I respect coaches. Also on the high school level, I respect the high school coaches.
Absolutely.
One of the big things that's going on, you got coaches that's want to be vigilante. Respect the high school coaches. Just think how you would feel if you were in their shoes. Don't try to tell the athletes don't listen to the high school coach.
Exactly.
I fostered in the Keller district. I work with the coaches, and they know who I am, and I respect them. They do a great job at training. I think all coaches do. And it's just, God has placed us at an elite level, But we can't look at a coach that don't spend that time like that.
They don't have that time.
They don't have that time.
Exactly.
You know, so everybody respect the space that you're in and respect those coaches. They need to be. They work just as hard as we do.
Absolutely.
And that's just building that relationship, and it just carries on. And I say to young coaches all the time, keep the respect. We're all in it for the. Maya Angelou said something awesome, and I carry that with me. She said, set aside the difference and work on the likeness. What is a common?
What's the common ground?
Yeah.
We common folk. Where's the common ground?
Because
like and Coach said, we bumped heads. We bumped heads quite a few times, but the kids were the common ground.
that was a common ground.
That was always our common ground. We always respected each other to come right back to that spot and say, all right, Coach, how do we work this out to make this make sense?
Okay.
So to have you here with me, like I said, this is exciting for me because I know we were two different places in our professionalism, but in our profession, the respect has never wavered. So Coach is literally walking distance from PE. And I've walked over there to have conversations with him or say, hey, so-and-so wants to bring their daughter over there and things of that nature. So
he's sent me several athletes, and I'll tell people I don't do this, go down there.
Yeah, that's happened as well.
So we stay in our space, and one thing I learned from Greg is like he always said, you know, look, he said in this business there's always somebody to train. So when I say to young coaches, don't go out and steal athletes, just wait your time, and your time will come. And I understand about my time. Sometimes I have years where I don't have kids in the top, but the times are getting better.
Yes.
We're eating. I'm like, we're going to get there.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. So I'm really patient, very patient. So, but I really appreciate everything Greg has done to help me get to where I'm at. I mean, it's awesome.
Don't believe the hype. Coach has done more for me than you guys can even imagine. He actually taught me how to teach methodically and to get a kid where they are and have them start from the beginning, even from where they are. Miss P, anything on the line that you want to say? Any questions, any comments, any concerns, any kids that need a great track club? Because if you ain't doing Team Extreme, you probably end up getting beat by Team Extreme. But that doesn't really matter. What the thing is, I've watched this man work so diligently, so many nights, help kids get scholarships to schools that nobody on the planet would have thought these kids are going to. And I'm talking about schools like Central Arkansas, and everything in between. So, Ms. P, what do you see on the line?
The only thing I have so far, it's something from Gracie, and she was saying she loved the dot drill.
Yeah.
And
She does it.
and she says, thanks for teaching me so much. But other than that, that's it right now.
Good. A lot of listening. Coach, we coming up on the end. This has been fantastic for me. What do you want? I was going to say, what do you want people to know? What do you want to leave them with? What can we leave on the line for you as you talk through Team Extreme?
I like to say in all my years of training, I was able to come up with my manual. I have my own my philosophy of the 400. I was able to go to Glacier Clinic, and Clyde Hart was in one room, and I was in another teaching my system of the 400 meters, which is still in the Glacier vault from 2016.
Wow.
So that was another awesome accomplishment in my life. A lot of people do things, but you know, I was able to develop something that has worked for years, and I'm still doing the same thing. And I do have a booklet I did that I'm gonna put out. In
you could, if you flip it, people will be able to see it on the.
So I do have a booklet I put out in ebook.
Yeah, they can see, yep.
And we're gonna release it in 3 phases. The nutrition.
Awesome.
You know, it's gonna talk about the training.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna talk about stretching.
Mm-hmm.
Things that will take a new club and help them be more proficient in their training. Give them the whole insight on what's going on. So we've been working on this, and we do now have it on ebook, and we will be releasing it sometime here in the next month or so.
Where would they be able to find it?
I will get back with you on that information.
Shoot that to me. We'll make sure we get it on the next episode, because then I can couple that with our digital speed school program, which of course, we've worked together,
you
know what it looks like, and see how we can help each other max that
Exactly.
out. Yeah. So, absolutely, if you're looking for somebody legit, if you're looking for somebody who has an understanding of maxing out the opportunities of kids, keeping them safe, proper cycles, the central nervous system, and winning. See, a lot of people think development is, well, we just going to teach kids who don't know how to do much and hope that they don't get hurt. Development is a part of winning. It's a part of the winning process. His club wins. I've been a part of it, and those kids go to college, period. Coach, what do you want to leave the public with? What do you want to leave new coaches, track club coaches, parents, and athletes with who have that dream to go compete beyond high school Olympics or junior Olympics or college or things of that nature? What would you say to encourage?
I like to say to the new coaches and athletes, remember the fundamentals. Do not leave the fundamentals. And I would say to coaches that build a positive self-image in these athletes. Don't look at winning, because everyone's not going to be an Olympian. Everyone's not going to go to state. But it's how you treat that athlete during the time that you have them, what you instill in them. You help them win in life. And I had a parent call me the other day, and we talked, and he said, you helped my daughter win in life. He said, how many times did you tell them, my saying is, obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. And it's not just for track.
Coach, say that one more time.
Obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. That's not just for track. His daughter is winning because she was going through high school, she's in college. He said, how many times did you teach her not to quit, how to persevere through? And that's what it's all about with me.
That's how they get this
outside of sports.
Miss P, you know I'm not finna try to follow that. I'm gonna make you follow that.
Put me on the spot. Well, I'm not a trainer, but I will say, if he's anything like Greg, he's phenomenal. Because I am now going to PE, and it has literally changed my life.
Well, I got my energy from him.
Yeah,
like, I think
I'm telling you, you guys, that energy that's there, it's real.
Thank you.
It is real. And I was a person that I hated working out because it was something that was forced upon me. And now when I go, I'm just looking for the day. Okay, what day I go? Okay, I got to go Tuesday. I got to go. Oh, and I've got to go this day. I can't do anything. I have plans at that time. Yeah. You know, but yet that, I'm telling you, it's contagious, and it's great. It's great. So I know you guys need to check him out. Team Extreme.
I'm going to leave you guys with this. Coach hit it on the head a million times, and I'm a big believer in it. It's teaching. Teach a child in the way he should go. And when he gets old, he won't depart from it.
Yes.
See, we think that's just according to religion. No, you teach somebody something early, and that way they understand the concept and they can maneuver through it when things about them or around them start to change. And that's how you take that athlete through that cycle of being good at movement to having a skill that they can carry on and off the field. And that's why today's kids utilize those voices. So I'm proud of all of them. Yes. If you don't have an opportunity, if you hadn't had an opportunity, you're about to get one because you're getting a Thanksgiving break and you're looking for somewhere for your kid to go run. If you don't go to Team Extreme, you'll end up getting beat by Team Extreme. So we appreciate every moment you gave us today, Coach. We appreciate you having us. We definitely going to have you back, especially after the indoor season. Yes. And we will see you next Monday on Beyond the North.